Subarctic Beekeeper here in the shade. One of the many. See if I can get in the sun. It's not going to matter. We are in autumn, September 2nd. I was talking about wasps and then was stung. So I went and changed my boots and put on my tall boots. Taken a few for the team in the past few days. The bees are hungry. Hungry, hungry, hungry. Nothing but beautiful leaves out there, and they don't feed off the leaves. So I've changed their feed from 1 cup of sugar and 1.5 cups of water to 2 cups sugar, 1 cup water. 2 to 1. This is making a thicker syrup that mimics honey. So they'll use this and put it up for reserves for the winter. I've got a lot of brood in these colonies. The National Honeybee Survey people were here a few days ago, and we went through the hives and just saw tons of brood. Those are going to be my winter bees. Latin name Dionysus bees. I am not a smoker, but then again I am with the bees sometimes. Yeah, I gotta let them know I'm here so they're not shocked. I do it lightly often, most times, but we got these wasps going on in here, and boy, those little shits can just wreck a day. They walk right into the hives, they'll behead the honeybees and carry the bodies off. As you can see, I'm flinging these dead honeybees into the weeds here, the beautiful weeds, because I want them out of the way. The wasps are attracted to the sugar. I don't want them. Send them home. I'm going to stick my hive tool in my, what's it called? Smoker. I've left the honey supers on, even though there is no honey in them, because these hives are full of brood that are going to hatch any day. And there's going to be too many bees. I don't want to add another deep because we're already into September now, by 2 days. When we go down for winter, we go down to 1 deep. All of our bees into 1 box. We don't use 2. Too much dead airspace. So I'm leaving the supers on even though they're not making honey. They can feed off the nectar that's uncapped, and there's enough room for them this way. Got a wasp hanging around here that I'm not interested in making friends with. Got a lot of propolis in here. This is good. I'll ask the National Honeybee Survey if they'll let me post the video I took from their visit. It's cool to see. Really nice people. I'm going to set this on the lid. Bending at the knees. So, all the bees that are down there are stuck. Thank goodness. Tons of propolis and wax. That's great for plugging up holes. It is not so great for lifting up a queen excluder. The queen in here is from last year, so she's a red queen. It is about 75 degrees out right now, bizarrely warm. It's 7 p.m. on Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. I want these bees to go down. I did clean out my sprayer, and so I can spray them, and it's warm enough. The benefit of that is they can't fly at me, and they get a little nummy-num. I swear to God, I just cleaned this thing. Because it wasn't working during the last video. And it was spraying really nicely. I sprayed it on some leaves right behind the iPad there. Not working now. Why? Why? I don't know. I'll try another few times here and shh. Quiet the mind. See the smoke, watch the bees. Relax. Relax, little sprayer. Well, I'm gonna have to get technical. By unplugging the thing, looking into it, looking into the other thing, plugging it back up, checking the bottom of the thing, no plugs. Right? Logic says, spray. None. For the life of Pete. Come on. This is a time waster. Not working. So, bees are up at the top again. I need to remove this queen excluder full of propolis and wax. I think it's because of what I've been feeding them. I think. I've never seen any amount this prolific ever in all my hives. Makes it a little harder to loosen. I like the plastic ones better. These do not clean easily. I'd rather spend my time tending to the bees than replacing equipment, building equipment, cleaning equipment. I want these bees to go down, baby, down, baby, down, baby, down, down, down. Got my brush, it's dirty. What I should have done is washed it last night. I was up late. Why? Editing a video. I think there's a lot to be said for not making YouTube videos. I hope it's helping somebody. People in my classes say it's helpful. I know it's more helpful to learn by watching than by listening. The majority of us are visual learners. A little tidbit for you. Why am I concerned with this right now? Because of that sticky queen excluder. And I have to remove it to get into these frames. There's some frames in here I have marked that I need to remove because they're full of honey. And the brood may be hatching or hatched, and I need to find that out because then the backfill starts. They have about a month, well, more than a month. These gals will get put into the bee barn when the temperature during the day is consistently 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 0 degrees Celsius. I know that much. Why? Why am I starting the squirt thing again? Because it worked a few minutes ago, and I could really pacify these bees a little bit with some sugar. I'm going to be adding pollen patty, syrup, and fondant. I check the weather all the time. Checked it for the month. I wish I had a J-hook right now. I ordered some. Anyways, the report says that we're supposed to have temperatures like this throughout the month of September, which is highly unusual. I had to go outside last night at 2 in the morning because one of our four-leggeds needed to go out. You see how many bees are in here? And we had frost. This is full of honey. Some of it capped, some of it uncapped. I need to find the queen. Beautiful dark pollen in here from the Thessalia and the poppies. They're hungry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bang them. See, watch what the shake does. It's not great for me, which is not. It works for others. Consistently does not work well for me. My brush is stiff, unfortunately, because I didn't wash it last night. Don't make that mistake. Learn from my mistakes. Wouldn't that be great if we learn from each other's mistakes? I got a supersedure cell here. This frame is going back in to be spun. After taking that hit in the leg a few minutes ago, I'm not real enthusiastic about taking another one. I'm going to put this over in a box I have here with a lid on it. Got another frame of honey here. I've also got in that box some frames that have been spun, so they have some honey residue on them. It'll attract the bees. So much propolis. You can see the dry feed right here, the dry pollen substitute. They've been going through about 2 cups a day. It's a lot. I know last year on this day it was raining and cold. Just want to show you these frames. This is what happens when you get good queens, good genetics. These frames are full of bees. Can you see them? That's what I want going into winter. Full frames of bees. We've got a supersedure cell here. I'm not sure why. She's doing an outstanding job. We've got a whole lot of activity growing here. Lots of nectar sucking. Nectar sucking. Kind of fun to say. I'm going to do the pound. This has some brood on it. I'd like to take it for the honey, but the reality is that if I do, I'm going to have brood in my house. I see drones sucking on that nectar. Lots of drone comb. Couple supersedure cells. I want the honey. But I can't. Damn it. Can't take it. Next we've got a frame that's empty. They're building the comb, which is great. I'm still trying this sprayer. I swear it'll work. I swear if we just keep trying the same thing over and over again in the same fashion, it'll work, right? No, it won't. So with those 2 frames out, I do have some room to move around. I'm going to do a hive check. Of course, looking at behavior, making sure that they're not doing anything weird, that they're all working together, nobody's fighting anybody, like on the deck. Nobody looks sick, nobody's stumbling around. I don't see any signs of deformed wing virus. It's great. These colonies have been treated for mites, of course. They all have. A couple times. I read something recently that said that we need to get used to the idea of mites being a part of our colonies. It's no longer just a hive of bees, it's a hive of bees and mites. Because it's impossible to get rid of all of them. That was a little disparaging. Tell that to New Zealand. So many bees. The honey that they have put up here is made from the nectar and pollen in the environment. It has more moisture in it than what I want them to have going into winter. We want them to not have to defecate. Look at all those bees. Aren't they lovely? Holy crow. Seems we've had a hatching. Got another supersedure cell. Wow. I'm not understanding why I would think they'd be making swarm cells by the size of this colony. There's honey on this, and I'm going to take it. It's been a poor year for honey. I don't see the queen on here. I suspect we haven't had much honey due to the rain and the wind, which is also unusual. I've got brood and a beautiful queen cell right here. It's a beauty, and it is ready. She's ready. These are great genetics. I'm going to put this frame aside because it's got brood. I can't spin it. What I can do is take the nurse bees that are on this frame and this beautiful queen cell and stick it in the new hive right over here that doesn't have a queen. Although, I need to check and see if there's larva, eggs, and everything else on here. There's brood, there's larva, there are eggs, and there's a queen cell. That's excellent. So there will be different stages of bees in that hive. Wonderful. That's ideal. This weather is great for mating, although if it gets cloudy, rainy, and lumpy again, that's not going to be so great. So I might get a virgin queen out of that cell, but she might not have time to mate, and she might not be able to start laying. But I'm going to take my chances, because this hive has been queenless for a long time. Full of bees. If you want to find an easy way to count your bees, there's a page called DaveCushman.net. DaveCushman.net. Mr. Cushman has passed away, but people are maintaining his site, and he has a method for counting bees by looking at how many bees are covering your frames. It's pretty cool. Going into where the brood nest should be, although she's laying all over. There's a wasp hanging out here that wants into the action. It'd be pretty cool if the September queen starts laying. Could happen. She could hatch tomorrow. Got a good hum going in here. Tell me we don't have good bees, huh? Look at that. They're gorgeous. Lots of brood. More queen cells. Why, ladies, why? When you've got such a great queen in here. What I don't want to happen is a new virgin queen to hatch and kill my prolific queen. That would be horrible. Holy crow. I've got, holy crow, 4 fully ready queen cells on this frame. 4, plus 1 in there. I do have some queen mating nukes, and it looks like that's what will have to happen here. I still need to find my red queen. Loyal to the red queen. Got some solid black bees in here. Very cool. These bees are just kicking it. I have my phone on me, and I often use it to take pictures of what I'm seeing in the hives, so I can record it later in my app, my beekeeping app. It's difficult to press my code in here with these gloves on. Wow, this is a giant queen cell. Big, big, big. You know what that means? She's been getting fed a lot. So, holy crow, I've never seen a queen cell this big. She is gigantic. It would help if I could press the button. They won't stay off for. I could do a split. This late in the season is tricky though. Holy crow. This is a cell with eggs, larvae, capped brood, queen cells. Okay, I don't see the queen on here. They're moving real slow. Now you can see the queen cells. You couldn't before. You can zoom in. I need a separate box. I need a separate box to make a split for just this colony. Holy crow! Well, I do have a top box over here. I have a nuke hive on the deck that's empty. If I could put these frames full of brood, larvae, queens, the whole bit in the same colony, I wouldn't have to worry about anyone getting to know each other. They'd already be familiar with each other. This colony has enough bees in it to do well. So many bees. More brood. No queen cells on this one. Big daddy drones though. But we don't want to mate with our brothers for sure, right? That would be awkward. I've got 3 frames over here that have all the ingredients for a really nice split. And then also have extra queen cells. I am on the lookout for wax moth larvae. Looks like salt or sugar. Little crystal, little things sprinkled on the frames. That's what it looks like. They're drawing out comb on this one late in the year. That's what stopped me a second ago, is I thought I saw some of those little sprinkles. I don't have enough experience with wax moths. I've never had them before this year. So, I'm a little bit hypervigilant here. Haven't seen the queen yet. That doesn't mean I haven't bypassed her. But I want to be really gentle, because if I'm going to steal these frames, then I don't want to leave this hive vulnerable. It's been one of my strongest hives. See some waggle dancing going on. It's great. Every time I say waggle dancing, I want to sing a Bee Gees song. My queen is embedded with the other ladies here somewhere. She was here 2 days ago. And I have another empty frame. Can you hear that? Can you hear that singing? It sounds like sirens in the sea. I'm going to put these empty frames on the edge. I'm going to put this colony back together. They're already festooning. They're looking good. I'm going to reach over really slow. You really generally want to try to avoid reaching over, but you got to do it sometimes, you know? Can you hear the humming? It's a whoo, kind of a cooing. Not piping. I hear different sounds coming from my colonies. Got some heavy festooning here. Ooh, they're sticking together. All right, I'm going to put this hive together using the frames that I've spun. I've got 3 frames in here with nurse bees and all my good stuff for splits. I need to find 3 more frames. I've got some empty frames in that hive, I think, that I could use. And I'm going to make a September split. That queen cell is the biggest I've ever seen. What do you do? I still have the bees that are in the honey super. I want to get some fondant on here and some pollen patty on here. Over the brood nest, right? Always, everything's over the brood nest, over the brood nest. Still didn't get these frames together. Oh, I don't want to crush anybody. I'm taking a little bit of a risk with this colony. Am I? Probably not, actually, because we don't want 4 queens in one hive. And putting them all together, they do all know each other. So as soon as I put this on, they'll come up for it. It gives me a little less control over who gets squashed and who doesn't. I try not to squash any of them. What I really want to do is, since there's so much work that needs to be done down here with these empty frames and backfill, I want to get the bees from the top box into the bottom box. And so I will do that now and brush them in and shake them in. Well, I've got space here. Lots of bees down here too. You don't want to see this, do you? I'm going to put the lid back on and move the super up to the table. It's heavy. Not because of honey, but because of bees. I still got that lid on the ground. If you're asking why do I bump things, to get the bees off. I'm going to pull this off, and then I'll set this over in a stack I have of hiveless frames that need to be cleaned off. They're set aside from the apiary. That way the bees can come and clean them. They'll come from different hives. I know it's bad practice, promotes robbing and all the other stuff, I know. Possibility of spreading disease increases, I know. But tell me what else to do. Send me an email, tell me what else to do. And if it's a good idea, I'll do it. And I'll say something. The brushing, God, I just dread the brushing. You know, hitting them in the head. So, I'm just getting these bees in here. I will tell you that banging frames takes a toll on them. It can, if they're not securely put together. I'm going to go through the rest of the colonies the next day, feed them all, give them a lot of feed, so they can do their backfill. Put up reserves for this winter, which should be hitting us mid-October. Well, the temperatures will go down mid-October. Got some honey on this one, surprisingly. Surprisingly. So I'll put this in the honey box. Should have washed the brush last night. It would be a softer contact. The bees are not happy. At least they hadn't been sprayed. so they're not wet. Got some more honey on this one. Well, surprise, surprise. That's great. Someone out there is watching this and going, oh my God, why does she keep banging frames? Because that way the bees go down into the hive. Least amount of contact from me. I'd rather have the frames be damaged than the bees. More honey, I'm surprised. I did not expect this. A wonderful surprise from the ladies. You notice there's less flying around after the Beekeeper Slam. So since I'll be making this split so late in the season, I'm going to have to be keeping a very close eye on it. Finding out when those queens hatch. Either that or separating them and putting some of the queens in some mating nukes and keeping the biggest queen for the split, which is probably what I will do. My red queens have made a lot of green queens this year. I just wish they had done it earlier in the season when I needed them. But I will never say no to a great queen. Empty frame, put them over here. I have one frame left. Then I can add the fondant, put the feeder back on. I won't put the queen excluder on because I'm not going to have another box on top. Let me get those extra honey frames. Another thing I could do is put the queen excluder on and then put the other queen cells in a deep on top, and then I would have a super giant colony, all the same daughters. I have to think of the pluses and minuses of that real quick. This hive needs a couple more frames in it. I'm going to push all the frames to the left. That's how I will know next time I come in here that I need to add some more frames pretty quickly. Otherwise they'll start building burr comb. And I don't want that, and I don't want the dead air space. So I'll probably end up adding those extra combs in tonight. Come on. Why don't I have a whole bunch of extra frames, you ask? I thought I heard that. Got a little thing going on here. Because I'm afraid of nosema. Deathly afraid of nosema. Not deathly, but afraid. Very afraid. Had an outbreak last winter, and I've had an outbreak before. And it just decimates everything. And so I had some frames that had some fecal matter on them, and I'd gone through the whole bleaching process, scraping, bleaching, you know the drill, scorching, and you know, it's not worth the risk. So I disposed of them. A lot of them. There's a lot. Now some fondant, because I want to leave this colony alone. I'm going to stick those extra frames in tonight and then just leave them alone. I've got those other frames right now actually in the spinner, so it'll just be a few minutes before I can get them in here. These bees are a bit docile. I wouldn't be. Watch this, so that you can see how easy it is, or not easy it is, to get the Hive Alive fondant, which is a great product, out of the wrapper and onto the frames. And I don't want to waste a smidge. It's pricey stuff. It's great stuff. So I'm going to add this, put the feeder on, and close up this hive, and go get those other frames right now in that nuke box so that I can create that quick split. I wish I had a smaller nuke box, because now I need to find some extra frames for these gals here. I need to smoke them again. Someone please make a good smoker. I need to press this down so nobody gets squished. If I put that feeder on, I don't want any wasps to have any extra room to get in. I'll put a little liquid on it, although we know it's not going to come out of my sprayer the way it should. Make some divots with my thumb, and then no queen excluder, just the feeder, and I'll be back in here in a few minutes. So, take care of yourselves, take care of your bees and your hives, and your colonies. Root for Ukraine. Having a bit of Ukrainian blood maybe makes me more angry about it. I don't know, everyone should be angry about it. Regardless, take care of yourselves, take care of your bees, and I'll see you later. This video is copyrighted and all rights reserved. Bye.